Raising a toast to the finer things in life, capturing all the buzz from the business of luxury and getting you the very latest from the world of technology. A very warm welcome to Aspire. I'm Vikram here at Pinakin in Mumbai. Here's what's on the show. Classic or sporty, India has its clear favorites when it comes to luxury timepieces. We're getting down to those. And also, we're getting chatting with Rishabh Suresh of Vacheron Constantin to learn more about the business of luxury watches in India. Thinner, lighter and faster. No, we're not talking about the iPad. Has the king of tablets finally met its match? Continuing our focus on the wedding industry, we turn our attention to wedding invitations and how elaborate they've become. When you talk about iconic timepieces, there are watches like Audemars Piguet's Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus that come to mind. Both these watches, incidentally, were created by one man, Gerald Genta, in the early 70s. But of course, now you're seeing new avatars to these original masterpieces like the Royal Oak Offshore by Audemars Piguet, and you also have the Aquanaut by Patek Philippe. Of course, the Rolexes, they never go out of style. The Submariners, they're always on the list of must-haves. But today, what is India aspiring for when it comes to timepieces? Here's a look. They are exquisite, timeless pieces of work, perfected through the years. They are luxury watches, some of them sporty, the others more classic. But what does India prefer?
Indian audience is a very young audience, which is uncommon to most parts of the world, where the luxury products are doing well.
We see that people below 40 experimenting with newer colors and sizes and materials, above 40 going for the classics, classic designs and classic looks.
In the sporty segment, Rolex's Submariner tops the list, introduced in 1953 for deep-sea divers.
The Rolex Submariner would be one of the most iconic watches that have ever been produced. It can be instantly recognized by watch collectors.
Also from Rolex, the GMT Master 2, essentially for those keen on sailing, but not quite how it works in India.
It's quite a large watch if you look at it, and has various markings on the watch which help sailors find their way across the globe. A hugely iconic watch, huge demand for it.
And then there's this among the best sellers, the first watch with a programmable chronograph and a programmable countdown, the Yachtmaster 2. Iconic brand Patek Philippe has its many fans. The Nautilus launched in 1976. It first came out in steel at the price of a gold watch. It has the brawny ship's porthole design that sets it apart. But its more recent avatar, the Aquanaut, came in 1997 with a rounded octagonal dial and the sapphire crystal back. This qualifies as one of the most sought-after watches in the world. But then you wouldn't find a Patek Philippe in India easily.
The simple answer to why they're not there is because the worldwide demand is very, very high, and once they're able to create the supply for India and they are assured that they can supply India with all its demand, they will open up in India as well.
Among the classic watchmakers, there's A. Lang & Son, making its place on the list of India's favorites with the Long One collection. The first piece came out after the company got re-established in 1994, but it's still one of the most celebrated watches with its asymmetric displays. These watches then make up only the pinnacle of the luxury watch iceberg.
The growth in the luxury segment is double digit for the past 4 to 5 years, and this is a consistent growth which is happening across.
Even in a rough economy, we were able to grow about 30% year on year. So I have no reason to believe that when the economy improves, that this will slow down. I believe that it will only increase.
Among the classics, one can't forget Vacheron Constantin. Its new Historique American 1921 is a limited edition, a tribute to the bold style of the 20s in 18-karat gold with a sapphire crystal case and the alligator leather strap. Rishabh Suresh represents the brand in India. I ask him whether the design philosophy at Vacheron is still entrenched in the classics.
I'd say we still do more of the classics.
Right.
Vacheron is very, very strong, in the minds of consumers when it comes to a classic watch.
Right.
Our design in the classic watch is very elegant, very understated.
For India, the audience is much younger. Vacheron caters to a more refined, perhaps an older kind of audience.
Now the younger audience in India, I feel they tend to be really young. I mean, more in the 25 to the 35-year-old category. And yes, we don't play in that segment.
Right.
Our watches are preferred by customers 38 plus.
Sure.
We have sold, most of our sports watches are sold to customers in the range of 40 to 45.
This became part of the Richemont Group in 1996. Ever since it came into a range of brands that a group represents, a group as large as Richemont, the approach changes, the strategy changes. Yeah. How did it change when it came to Vacheron?
So the direction was mainly to look back at our heritage, look back at our history, and ensure that we take inspiration from that and move forward. We focused on ensuring that all of our movements are in-house,
right,
which of course is requires investment. The in-house movements have stricter standards, but the main thing is making a movement is not as easy. It requires years of research.
Sure.
R&D that goes into it. It's pretty similar to making an automobile. If you need to develop a new engine, it doesn't happen overnight.
But talking about innovation, the innovation seems to be in design, not so much on the technical side. Is all the innovation that is done on the technical side now history and you can't do much more beyond that?
I would not completely agree, but yes, what you're saying is true in a way. There is a lot of work that is done on designs. What we are seeing in the sort of global luxury watch industry, we're seeing a lot of independent watchmakers that have been sort of coming up now.
Right.
We're doing very interesting work with respect to materials, with respect to complications itself, or designs. They've been focusing on innovating with respect to displays.
I see.
How do they display the time, or playing around with the material.
I know with Vacheron, the tonneau, that's the kind of shape that you use, became very popular, isn't it?
Yes, we've been doing tonneau for the last 100 years. Yes, design is a key element, especially for an Indian buyer, because although we know brand names, but then it's the looks ultimately that does count. We're seeing a lot of classic, elegant designs coming back.
Right.
You want to ensure that you're not bored of looking at it 50 years down the line, 75 years, 100 years down the line.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Obviously, there are those watches that make Vacheron Constantin the kind of brand that it stands as today. Let's take a closer look at some of these watches that have been hot sellers in India. Being one of the first watchmakers for women starting in the year 1810, Constantin's Mold collection is 100 years old. These watches are distinctive for their tonneau shape in pink or white gold, set in a diamond-studded case with the numerals in gold and a leather strap. The shape of the half Maltese cross in diamonds on the buckle makes it stand out even more. There's also the contemporary Patrimony by retrograde day date with an 18-carat gold case, a large 42.5mm dial with a stunning case back embedded with 27 rubies in the mechanism of the watch. Right now, let's tell you what the buzz of the week is.